Hello. So recently I passed the 100,000 subscriber mark, which is crazy to me. I figured I should do a special video, and I actually did have some ideas, but unfortunately they rather relied on us being out of lockdown. I am still going to make that video, but in the meantime I thought I'd do one of those question and answer thingamies. I went to Patreon, Ko-fi and Facebook and asked people what they wanted to know, picked out a selection, made a video answering them, dropped my phone and lost the video, so this is my second attempt. Here goes. So the first question, who is the person behind the voice? Well, Jago Hazard isn't my real name. I live in southwest London. My height is between 5 and 115 feet. One time I stole Vanessa Redgrave's lunch. Do we get a face reveal? Probably someday, most likely at some completely arbitrary point. You probably wouldn't like it though. Why/how did you choose the name? I kind of wanted a bit of separation between real me and public me, although it's probably not that difficult to figure my real name out. The name Jago Hazard actually came from a sort of sci-fi fantasy novel I was writing. The main character was meant to be kind of reminiscent of your Victorian adventurer type, but a little bit ridiculous. In the end, the book just got completely out of hand, spinning off into the Gaia hypothesis, time travel, entropy, Gnosticism, and conspiracy theories. But I kept the name. How did you get into railways? I think it's a family thing. My great-granddad worked his way up from porter to signalman to station master. He was at Royston in South Yorkshire and then at Greenfield in Lancashire. I also had a great-uncle who worked at Crewe Works and later on at Hammersley Irons Railway in Australia, so I guess it's in the blood. What triggered your interest in London's transport? Well, my dad used to take me, my brother and my sister into London, and we'd always wind up taking the tube. I think it was actually a visit to the London Transport Museum that really made me realise that there was more to it, though. That there was this entire history beyond this thing that we took into London. And I guess it kind of snowballed from there. What happened to the beer reviews? Well, the thing about those is they actually started out as a joke. I'd read a few beer reviews and realised I had no idea what any of them were talking about, so I thought I'd do some reviews spoofing your standard beer review, but utterly useless. To be honest, the joke wasn't very funny, it quickly got old, and a lot of people didn't even realise it was a joke. So, I guess that makes it a pretty bad joke, really. Do you feel relieved that other channels have been so supportive? Yes, absolutely. I've had some fantastic support from other YouTubers, which really was an I'm not worthy moment for me. I tend to be quite self-conscious, and I worried I'd look like some kind of upstart, or that people whose work I admired might think I was trying to muscle in on their turf. I think the thing about YouTube, the thing I very quickly came to realise, is it's really not competitive, at least not among transport folk and history nerds, who are all really nice people in my experience. Everyone has their own style and approach, so everyone has a different take on a subject. There's plenty of space for everyone. What made you start a YouTube channel, and did you have any idea how big it would become? Well, this is going to be quite strange, but I think what got me into it was getting a smartphone. I was really late to the smartphone thing. I only got one in 2018, and it was an absolute revelation to just be able to film stuff. I'd been playing with the idea of writing a book about the underground for years, but the ability to just really easily get that visual aspect made me reconsider the concept. As to whether I thought it would be a success, I honestly had no idea. I had a sort of vague idea that it might be nice to make a bit of extra cash someday, but I figured by now I'd probably still be in the low hundreds of subscribers at best. To be honest, I thought I'd get bored with the whole thing in a couple of months. If you could reopen one abandoned station, which would it be? Well, it's not very practical in the light of redevelopment, but I think I would say City Road. It doesn't duplicate any other station, it's a fair distance between Angel and Old Street, and I think the area has changed enough to allow it to do well. What rail route would you recommend to someone new to London? Now this one's easy. I would say the Overground Orbital route. You pass through so many different areas. It's a really diverse route that goes through some really interesting places and has some great views of the city. But at the same time, it doesn't really hit any of the obvious tourist spots, so you kind of get a different view of the city from your standard one. If you could make one change to the Underground, what would it be? I think I'd do something about the voice of the lifts in Chalk Farm. They just sound so grumpy, you know? Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I got lots more questions, so maybe I'll do some more of these at some point. And some of the questions might even make for a video in themselves. So who knows? Anyway, when lockdown lifts and I can get some proper filming done, I'll do a proper special. I have a few ideas. I'm thinking I will put it to the vote, so keep an eye out for that. I'd like to thank you all for watching my videos, for subscribing, sharing, donating, commenting, and all those other wonderful things that you do. In a very real sense, I couldn't have done it without you. So, here's to everyone. And I'll see you all again very soon. Cheerio.